Star Wars Celebration 2023 has just come to an end, and I got home very late last night, and I wanted to share some thoughts about this event, everything that happened there in terms of gaming news like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and also the lack of gaming news, to be honest, and really just my experience overall, because it was very mixed, to be completely honest. I want to be clear, like everything in terms of people, Star Wars and such was amazing. Like honestly, meeting all of you guys there is literally the highlight of the entire trip. And I mean, it's been like 3 years or something since I last were at an event like this. So it was so much fun to see you all. All of you came up to me and wanted to have a chat, take a picture or whatever. It was just so much fun talking about good old Battlefront days, your hopes for a potential Battlefront 3 and things like that. So I just want to say thank you to really anyone I met for making this trip very memorable. Same goes for all the fellow creators that I met there. Some people who I've never met before and some old friends that I hadn't seen for years, which was a lot of fun, to be honest. Whenever someone asked me what's been the best thing about Celebration, I simply just said meeting people, because that really was the best thing. Star Wars kind of came in second, although we all obviously talked about Star Wars when we were there. There was obviously a lot of cool reveals for Star Wars, whether we're talking movies, TV series, animated, or everything like that really. And I've talked about that a lot on my clip channel. Huge shout out to Sam for actually helping me make clips while I was there. I was sitting with this little microphone at the event, recording clip audio that I sent to him, and he then made a clip and uploaded it, which actually worked out way better than I first expected. So thank you to anyone who watched that. But what I didn't really like about Star Wars Celebration is that it feels like an absolute mess in terms of organization, planning, and communication. There were so many bad things here that got me incredibly frustrated to the point where I was like, I'm not even gonna get here the next day. Like the lottery system, for instance. I think it's better than a queuing system where people stand for like 24 hours to queue, but is it really fair that some people get 0 panels and others get all of them? Personally, I didn't get into a single panel through the lottery system, whereas I know some people got into 3 or 4 of them. And I think at that point, something is seriously wrong. But I kind of accepted that and just went to have fun. So me and Asatru during the first day just sat outside making clips, talking to people while the Lucasfilm panel was going on. And then we heard that there was going to be a Mando preview screening in the evening, so we thought, let's try to get into that. And everyone who went to the Lucasfilm panel, who won the lottery, actually got a wristband that gave them access to the Mando preview screening, which at first I thought was a bit weird. Shouldn't the people who maybe didn't get into the panels get to see the screening? But I guess not. But anyways, we knew there was an Andor panel that day at the same place, so we went and asked the information lady, and she said, if you guys get into the Andor panel, just stay in the room for the Mandalorian preview. And we thought, great, we'll spend the rest of our day queuing up for the Andor panel so that we get a guaranteed slot for the Mando preview and get to see something exclusive today. And what happens? We queue up, we eventually get into the Andor panel, but once it's done, some extremely rude security, which I also gotta say a lot of the security were asshats at the event, just told us to basically get the hell out of here. We were like, no, but they said we could stay in here to see Mando. Nope, you can't. Get the hell out of here. At that point, I was so pissed off because I, again, didn't get into any lottery stuff, spent half the day queuing up for that, but then being thrown out just before it starts anyways, and I was really fuming. But luckily, Bespin Bulletin was super nice and actually gave me his wristband, so we managed to get into the Mandalorian preview screening anyways. And the day after, I was lucky enough to get into the Ahsoka panel, thanks to Alex from Star Wars Explained, who actually borrowed me his Jedi Master badge just for that panel. So I ended up actually getting to see some exclusive stuff, which was great. But that was due to having very nice friends who wanted to help me out, and so I was having a bad day, not because of the shitty system and poor communication. And the second organization thing that I thought was really bad was that they seemed to have oversold the event. It was incredibly crowded to the point where some bottlenecks you basically could not get past. Multiple times we just ended up turning around and going in a different direction because we couldn't get to where we wanted to be. And considering how fast it sold out and the fact that they opened up for more tickets later makes me think that they just got greedy and sold more than they should have, because this is the 4th Star Wars Celebration I've been to, and I've never seen it as crowded as it was this time, especially on that Friday. So that really kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, knowing how much you paid to go here, and then getting to experience very little of it due to how the organization was. But don't get me wrong, I still had a lot of fun meeting all of you guys, fellow creators, Star Wars fans, cosplayers. That's really what made this awesome. Not the actual event, but the people who were there. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about the disappointment that is Star Wars gaming. How do we have a full-out Star Wars event with not a single Star Wars gaming panel. We have panels for everything else, pretty much for individual series, overall Lucasfilm, animated, books, publishing, everything has its own panel, but gaming has none. Not even a Star Wars Jedi Survivor panel. Yes, we got a really nice piece during the live show, and Cameron was there chatting and they revealed a new gameplay trailer. But the fact that we don't even get a panel is honestly pathetic, considering how big gaming is. Whether it would be a panel with old Battlefront devs talking, or just talking about the creation of any other games they've done so far, or a panel that updates us on all games, a little bit of Hunters, Survivor, Ubisoft, just something, a bit like how they did with the Lucasfilm panel, just that they did it with games instead. But we get nothing at all like that, which I honestly do not understand, especially considering that Star Wars Jedi Survivor was actually the sponsor of the entire event. They were like ads everywhere and they showed up on the official stream, but they can't get their own panel either. So overall, I did have a very fun celebration. Everything when it comes to Star Wars, to you guys, to just the people there was 10 out of 10, and I have no complaints about that at all. It's just the organization, planning, and communication wise that I think it was an absolute mess, and in terms of that, probably the worst Star Wars celebration I've been to so far. But those are kind of completely two different things. But I'm really curious to hear if you guys were at Star Wars Celebration. What was your experience with it? Did you notice any of the same issues I had, or did you just think it was awesome overall? Because it is still a fantastic event, don't get me wrong. It might just be because I'm comparing it to some previous events that I get a little bit disappointed, and because of some unlucky personal experiences I obviously had. I appreciate you guys watching my content still. I'm pumping out clips on the second channel and will obviously be doing way more here when news comes out about games. Thank you for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.